make it happen while you still got a chance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Make It Happen podcast. My name is John Whirledge, and I am here with my friend
Dan Bracken.
And we are continuing. This is part 2 of a conversation that we're having with our friends Chris Wingfield and Emily Schulte about our Christmas EP that we have written and produced and will be releasing on November 18th. And so the first part of this episode, and I'll pause right here. If you have not listened to part 1, why don't you just hit pause, go back and listen to part 1, and then come back to listen to this conversation, because the whole point of our conversation is really to help church leaders and even ourselves, as we're having this conversation, to unlock our creativity and in pursuit of offering excellence in our creativity to the Lord. Because as servants of the Lord, as people serving the church, that's our goal, is to honor the Lord with our best and with our creativity. And so we're just going to kind of take a next step, and we may go a little nuts and bolts on this, but we really want to just dig deeper into the creative process. And so, Dan, good to have you with us for this part 2, as always. I mean, we kind of go together when we do this, right?
Yep.
But Chris and Emily, we're glad to have you with us for part 2.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you guys for taking the time to be here with us. It's been fun so far, but I'm excited as we just kind of dig in. So to start this part 2, just a little icebreaker, because the EP is a Christmas EP, right? So out of the, I don't want to put a number, but there are almost an infinite number of Christmas songs. If you had one Christmas song, like Desert Island, and you're allowed one Christmas song, what's that one Christmas song that you're gonna? It can be part of a playlist, but like that one Christmas song that, if that's the only Christmas song you ever get to hear for the rest of your life, what is that one Christmas song?
Mine is the Christmas song.
I do love that.
Wait, what song? Sing it. I don't know if I know it.
Chestnuts roasting on
Chestnuts
open fire.
Oh,
That's
that's
what it's
called
called.
the Christmas
Yep.
song?
Yes.
Yep.
How did I not know that?
I don't know, Dan. I'm very surprised about this.
I thought that was, wait, what's White Christmas? Oh,
White
I'm
Christmas.
dreaming of a,
Of
that's
a white
different, isn't it?
Christmas. Yeah. Mine is Charlie Brown Christmas song. Christmas time is here. Christmas time is here. I actually, during Christmas time, when I'm in my office, I'll pull up the soundtrack to the Charlie Brown Christmas movie and just play it in the background. Like,
So good.
and it never gets old. Ever. It never gets old. Yeah. But Chris, on the other hand, you see, he plays Christmas music all year round. So there's times,
24/7.
there's certain seasons that I'm just not ready or prepared for it. But
My perspective is very different on Christmas music. To me, all Christmas music is worship music. That's to me. So I'm like, I can sing about Christ all year, you know, in all different forms, and celebrate him all different ways. So I listen to it all year.
he does.
That and Christmas movies.
I
all
thought
year.
Mariah Carey was your favorite
Oh
one.
no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. If you play that on the island, like, there is just one song. All her other Christmas songs are great. It's just the one. It's just the one. I dare not say the name of it. No.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine.
It's Oh Holy Night for me, I think, if I could choose one. That's the one I belt in my car every year.
Oh, I have to
love
hear
it. It's
that.
fun.
I do.
I need to
Yeah,
hear that.
let's hear it, Dan.
Yeah, you should hear that.
2024 Christmas Eve.
Yeah, well, there you
Yes,
go. Okay, so
Dan.
before I die, hopefully I'm very old. At some point before I die, I'll sing you Oh Holy Night.
Yeah, we need it while your voice is still vibrant. I don't want
Yeah.
to wait until you old. No, we're going
Oh Holy Night.
no, we're gonna get it now. Yes.
Did you answer, John?
I have not, and I'm racking my brain. Like, I will say probably "Oh Holy Night" too, but I think for me it's the lyrics. Like, there's something, especially the second verse of the song, where truly He taught us to love one another.
Yeah.
His law is love. His gospel is peace. Like
Yeah.
that. Just there's something about those
that's
words.
just it right
that,
there.
Right, and
That's
it
just
just
it.
to me it's like.
Yeah.
That's the meaning of Christmas, but then also, like like you said, Chris, it transcends the Christmas season on the calendar. It's just something that that message of hope that we have in Jesus. I think that's for me. It always something special about that.
That's it for it's a thrill of hope, a thrill of hope, and the weary world rejoices. You know, I
Yes.
think I long for that day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
Christmas,
good.
isn't it? Yeah. Well, so what makes Christmas so special?
Besides, it's my birthday.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Yeah, man.
I got some
Yeah.
steep competition. Me and Jesus, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
do you feel guilty for celebrating your birthday on such an eventful day?
Of course not. I've been shortchanged all my life. I've been upstaged all my life, so I'm used to it. I'm used to it. You know, it's like happy birthday, Merry Christmas. You know, everybody else get 2 gifts: a birthday gift, then a Christmas gift. Nope, it's all one. Bundle it up. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas. You know where you get to eat on my birthday? Waffle House or Chinese food. Everywhere else is closed. That's it. It's the only 2 places you get, or go bowling, and that's it.
Now, surely though, that's not the inspiration for this Christmas album.
No.
Christmas EP.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, why was it so easy to say, yeah, we're gonna do an EP and it's gonna be Christmas? What's the connection there?
Well, like Chris was saying before, this is a universal project, reaching a lot of audiences. It's not just the church Christian community; it's everybody. You know, I have many friends who are not in the faith that listen to Christmas music, and I was in the store the other day, and there was Silent Night playing randomly, and I'm like, it's bizarre to me sometimes, you know, but it's awesome, and I think that that's an undercover way to get the word out to people, and who doesn't. I mean, there are people who don't like Christmas music, but who really doesn't like Christmas music? Come on. It's like, it's just something, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
I mean,
you know?
it's hard to write Thanksgiving hits.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so
Yeah, can you name one? I can't. I don't know. No. Easter hits too. Like, not a whole lot of those, are there?
yeah, it's a challenge.
So as we're talking about, like, we're just gonna kind of peel back some of the layers. Like there are some people that the whole idea of producing an album is completely foreign, and so like this is not, just to set some context, this is not just the 2 of you in your office or in a studio somewhere creating all of the parts and all of the pieces. And I know in part 1 we talked about a few of those people. You know, you had Ryan laying some bass lines down. We had our drummer. We had the pedal steel player. But like how many people, if you know, just a number, like how many different people are going to be involved in the whole process of this EP? From, you know, I know you 2 as songwriters, but then like we've got different vocalists, we've got other people helping with production, mastering, instruments, like so many different things. How many people does it really take to bring this project to reality?
This particular project, we had a total of, over the 4 songs, 30 people.
Okay.
That's including my string arrangers and players, horn players. Like I said, Hark the Hero, we have live horns on that. Have the horn arranger, his name is Vinny, awesome arranger. A string arranger, Hamilton Harden. My mix and master engineer are Marcelo, and he's phenomenal. These are all great guys. Then I have my guy Thomas Harden, no kin to Hamilton, but he also did some organ. He also engineered my BGV my background vocal session for me down in Kentucky. So we have about 30 people, you know, far as to get this one off. And that's not including, well, if I include photographer, graphic designer, we probably back up to 33.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And everybody puts their own fingerprint on it, right?
Yeah.
It helps it to become something different because everybody's having that influence. And so for you as a creative person, as a creative mindset, like, is there some tension? Like, do you feel some tension when you have to say, like, okay, I got to release this to my mastering engineer, or I got to release this to this producer so that they can get the background vocals the way we want them to sound. How does that, like, how do you work through that? How do you process through that?
Well, the main thing to remember as a producer, or if you're producing an album, you serve the song. You always make decisions that's best for the song. So there may be some creative decisions that that need to be made, like, oh man, I'm really in love with this piano part, but this piano part is in the way of my strings, or I'm always thinking 10 steps ahead. So why I am, it starts with a good song. I mean, you can have the best arrangers, best musicians, everything. If you have a terrible song, it's a terrible song. So it starts with a good song. So good writing. So having that foundation, and then you build from that. So when I'm thinking arrangement, I'm thinking, okay, I can hear the horns doing this little, motif here, this little riff there. So I won't put vocals there. I won't put a piano there. And everyone who's on the record, who I trust, when I'm picking the musicians and engineers, once again, I'm picking those that serve the song best. For instance, when I heard Hark the Herald, I can hear Alan Mapson. He's the drummer on it. I can hear his style. I can hear his flavor. It's like, that's what I need for this song. Or when we picking lead vocals, like Emily can sing any song on this record. Like, she can sing any of them, but is it the right voice for the song? We serve the song. You know what I mean?
And that's how it was with Remember. I wrote the lyrics and did the scratch track for people to learn the song, but like, it wasn't my song, you know what I mean? And it's awesome to see it come to life through somebody else like that. It's just really cool.
You got to trust your production team.
Yeah.
If I give you the call, it's because I trust you. So I try not to, there's big picture vision that I see for the songs. As soon as the song is started, I already can see a graphic and image in mind. I already have that direction, because there's a tone. It all work in concert with each other. So if when I send the mix off, I have to, be at peace with knowing there's some mixing decisions that he's going to make. Like, he may tuck the organ back in the mix because to make that mix work, he wanted to bring the vocals forward. So with the organ forward, it was in the way of the vocals. So he'll tuck it in, not get rid of it. And there's some parts, like on Hark the Herald, that I put into the song. I'm like, oh man, that was called. It's pretty cool. That when he mixed it, he tucked them back in the mix. Then there's some things that's like non-negotiable because the drummer may have been playing to a percussion loop. And if you remove the percussion loop, it makes what the drummer playing feels weird, because everybody is building off each other, and it's the order. I wouldn't record strings first if they're not dominant. If it's a song that's all about strings, then I cut the strings first and build that around it. But if it's a guitar song, if the song is guitar heavy, I want to make sure I write from a guitar's perspective.
Yeah.
So I'll bring in the guitars. Hey, interpret this. So I'll do a demo track. I'll make it like, okay, this is what I'm hearing. This is direction I'm hearing. Then I'll go to those musicians to bring it life. Because we talked about it on the first episode. Go back and watch it. We talked about how giving your gifts away. So I can think and record a bass line, but it's not the same as if me giving it to Dan Bracken to interpret it as a bass player.
It'll be way worse.
He's wired as a bass player, so he's going to think certain ways. He's going to go certain directions because he's a bass player. Same way, I can teach vocals, but I'm not a vocalist. I can hear harmonies. I can teach harmonies. I can hear the parts and stuff. But when it's time to record, I am not getting on the mic and try it. I'm going to go to those who have that gift, and I say, hey, Emily, I need you to cut this, or, hey, CC Dunn, I need you to lay BGVs on this part, soprano, alto. So that's how I'm picking the people and arranging is what serves the song best. Like, Hope is Here. I played the piano on that. I didn't like the way I played my own piano. So I took my piano part off and brought in Prentice Knight to play piano on it.
Good choice.
You know what I mean? You know, it's like, hey, it works. You know, and that's what serves the song best. So you can't be prideful.
Well, it's the
Yeah.
same for video editing.
Yeah.
You serve the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how
Right.
you determine, like, when you have 45 minutes of interview footage. Well, I mean, these podcasts are another good example. Like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit and I'm going to cut out the stuff that doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
you know, to the wider conversation. Like, you serve the story. I think it's the same for photography. I think it's the same for creative writing. I think it's the same for public speaking, you know. We all know how uncomfortable it is to have somebody on stage just blabbing on about nothing.
Right.
That's uncomfortable.
Right.
You serve the story, you know, you serve the main idea. So, yeah, good tips for creatives everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. What software did you use? This will be interesting maybe for other audio editors. What software did you use to pull all this together?
I do most of my tracking and Scratchpad and ideas in Studio One Pro. Then some of the other sessions in studios that I worked with this project use Pro Tools. So I'll bring up my Pro Tools rig and, you know, consolidate the files and edit in Pro Tools. Then I'll kick it back over to Studio One. So mainly Pro Tools and Studio One is the DAW of choice. Digital audio workstation. If somebody said, "What is a DAW?" Okay.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is all like all these different things. It's very time consuming, right? And so give us kind of like big picture timeline. Like when did you guys first start writing lyrics and coming up with some of the ideas to these songs? To like when was the cutoff for, hey, I want to have production finished by this date? So like how much time as far as like date wise was invested, and then second part, how many hours do you think have been invested? Like I know personally you guys
Yeah.
have a lot of hours in it, but then, you know, thinking for your arrangers and your other producers and mixers, everybody else. So what kind of like time investment are we talking about for this EP?
We started in June writing. But
How early before that was the concept?
the
you know?
concept.
Like, hey, let's write some music.
The concept started in December 5th of 2023.
Okay.
Once
Yeah.
we released Hope
Yeah.
Is Here, we already started dreaming for
Yeah, so you've got
for the next.
Yeah, by the time this is released, you'll have about 11 months into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, it's like I said, the process started there, the dreaming. Then we started writing sessions, and in the writing sessions, we just, you know, I always say, kick the editor out the room. You can't write with the editor in the room. You won't get anything done. Just throw things out, see what sticks.
Yeah.
You know, there are no, you know. Don't we throw it all out there. If you think it's a bad idea, still shoot it, because it may be a bad idea for this song right now, but it may work great for the next one.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, throw it out there, let's capture it. So we started, you know, like I said, started that writing process in June. Then from the writing process, it started going into demoing all the songs. So I brought Emily in to the studio in the back and started putting you know, scratch vocals on all of these songs, just start to give them some life, some direction, and see, you know, is this really a song, or are we just, you know, did it just sound like a song in our head? You don't really know until you get it out. And then you start, once you get the scratch vocals done, then I'll take and start arranging. I used to get on Emily all the time because she was like, "Oh, I can hear backgrounds." I say, "No, this is, I think strong song structure first. What's verse, chorus? Give me that. Keep all that. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna do it. Give me the structure. Let's arrange it. Build on it." And then from there, like I said, you starting to get an arrangement going. Then I'm starting to think instrumentation. I'm starting to think who would be great for this. You know, I'm hearing live strings on it. Who gets that call? Or I'm hearing. Or I'll do a scratch track and not put strings. Like, strings are not working. I had strings idea on the song "Remember," and I took them off. And I'm like, I don't think it needs it. I think it needs less. So you have cajon, acoustic, piano, and steel pedal guitar on that. So
And, I mean, a lot of those decisions are still subjective, right? Based off of who you are and your training. And like Emily, I'm sure too that anybody who hasn't had training to your level of vocal locality, is that a word? Maybe. are much farther away from recording an EP than somebody who's gone through formal vocal training, right? So obviously there's time invested learning your craft, right? You
Yeah.
got to learn how to be a musician. You got to learn how to be a
The
vocalist.
studio
before you
is a
can lay
different
track like
world
this. Yeah.
than if you just like to sing or play
Yeah.
live somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
once you get in the studio, a different level of confidence has to come because, and there's some great singers that I've witnessed be in the studio that just completely crumble because they get really self-conscious and you hear yourself differently.
Yeah. Well,
but you have to
I've
trust-
seen people in front of a crowd,
Yeah.
public speaking, that are lively and energetic, and then they get in front of a camera and, they're
it's-
just like,
right. You just have to
Different
trust
world.
the process too with music specifically. Like I've had to learn, like, okay, that may not sound amazing right now, but there's so much that's gonna happen to what I just did, you
Yeah.
know. And but yeah, it's definitely a process, confidence, you know, doing it. But also, like, just because somebody doesn't have, you know, training, like, you know, I have a degree in voice. That doesn't mean that they can't go into a studio.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think people should still do it. You know, I've become a way better songwriter than I was even 3 and 4 years ago, just because I've been doing it. You know, and yeah.
Well, so I know too, one hurdle that people can encounter when looking at a big idea is the time that it might take to do it, right? I think we're already living in busy society. We don't have time to brush our teeth, you know what I mean? So how do you find time to invest in a passion project like this? Are you doing it on the side? Or are you doing it as a part of your, like, you know, your career,
You don't
your
find
vocation?
it. You don't find it. You have to make it.
You got to
Yeah.
make the time.
You have
Make
to
it
So you got to be
happen.
intentional.
You have to
Make
you
it
got to
happen.
schedule it.
It's a Make It
Yes.
Happen podcast.
Yeah.
So that's, you know.
Yeah.
If you try to find it, you'll never
Right.
find it because something will always fill up that
Yes.
time, fill
Yeah.
up that space.
Yeah.
You also, and as creatives, you also have to give yourself time to space out because there's oftentimes you just like
My cup
just
is
nothing.
overflowing.
You know, you got to factor that in.
Yeah.
You got to factor that in, especially when you're up against a deadline. When you have, like, for a Christmas album, you have to record, and if you're going to do a whole album in the summer. You're doing that in the summer. You're getting it done. You starting writing in the spring, so you're recording in the summer, getting it done because you only have a very small window to release that.
Yeah.
And also your distributors and stuff want some lead time.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, marketing,
they
awareness.
Right.
Yeah.
They prefer like if you want to really unpack it. If you think in marketing, you're thinking now you have to go 4 months out to, especially if you're doing international marketing, to start marketing that 4 months out. So that means you need to have something 4 months before that.
Okay, you're stressing me out now, Chris. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do my creative idea because now it's too much.
Yeah.
Now help me. What do I do? Like, where do I start? I think you mentioned earlier, Emily, in between our conversations, finding new life rhythms that allow freedom and space to be creative, like we're talking about.
Yeah, I think, like, I'm a person that I love a lot of things. I have a lot of different outlets of friends and hobbies and all, you know. But one of my mentors a couple years ago, she asked me, she was like, yeah, but is that your best yes? And, like, I've never forgotten that line. Is this my best yes? Like, I might be great at this, but is it my best yes? And so this year specifically, I was faced with just, okay, like, what do you really want? What do you feel like you're really called to do? What is your best yes? And in order for me to make room for that, to make it happen, I had to let go of a lot of other things. Friend groups, even though those friends are awesome, I didn't have time anymore to invest in that specific, you know, realm. You know, another career outlet that I was pursuing. You know, I felt like my hands were clenched, and it was this process of, like, being really afraid of, well, what if I let this go and this happens or this doesn't happen, and it's just more time wasted. And so it was just through a lot of prayer and conversation where I just finally was just sick and tired of, like, I'm not doing this way for more years, you know? And so I let go of some things and have really been hitting the ground running. This season, the last 6 months, has been a lot for me with just busyness, but but things that are pushing me forward, spending time with people that help me grow, eliminating, even though, friends and having downtime, those are all great things. But like this season was just like, it's now or never.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think if somebody wants to do this, you got to analyze, like, what are you doing and what are you not doing? And just start somewhere. Like, I have notepads filled with lyrics of just lines that I've read, Pastor Dennis has said, or, when I've been out and about and I've seen, words and phrases that I've just saved and saved and saved. And so over the last couple of years, I've just been writing, and now I'm just taking chunks of things that I've written and creating songs, like, quickly, surprisingly, because I just did a little bit at a time, but
Production world and church world timelines are not the same, and people have to understand that. For instance, on Hark to Hell, we finished recording the drums and bass probably about close to almost 8:30, 9 o'clock that night. Then I had another session after that I had to get to start getting the organ and all of that tracked for the song. So production didn't end for that until like 1 a.m. So we didn't get done till like 1 a.m. doing that. So there's weird hours, and then you have to work within the best time frames of the artists and things like that. One of the funny things working with an artist like Emily is I know her sweet spots. I know what times that I'm gonna get the best out of her, and at times it's like, we're just about to just burn tape, waste time. And you have to know that, so that way you can work within those windows. And like I said, so everybody has those windows, everybody on the team, like my string arranger, he's texting me at 3 a.m. in the morning because that's where he's like on it. He's like, I got this idea, I'm hearing this. I'm like, dude, it's 3 a.m., but you got to get it done. You have to get it done. So some of the things you have to sacrifice is time, sleep. There's going to be some sleepless nights, but it's part of the process. And knowing that there's many different positions in this production world. If you, for instance, there's a church out there say, hey, I'm great at writing. I don't know if I got the musicians or the people to help pull this off. That's when you connect with a producer, or you connect with someone who can help arrange and help work and bring that out. Because we're releasing our gifts. Right. So we can't be afraid to collab with someone. And collaborating with someone doesn't mean you're less than. Right. And also knowing producing, because you can produce an album and not touch an instrument. You don't have to play on the album. You don't have to. You literally can bring your goal is to bring all the best pieces in that makes the song to what it is. Right. So, those out there, I just want to encourage them. If you have that idea, that dream to do it, collaborate with people. Just know there's going to be times where you're going to sound pretty bad. We all didn't start walking and running. We started off with step, fall, step, fall, step, fall. Then we got better and better. Now we can walk a little better, so don't be afraid to reach out and collaborate with people.
I think another limitation might be cost. Like church budgets are small, and I know we've utilized some professional artists, photographer, instrumentalists, right? Studio time. I mean, just give us a ballpark of how much money was invested in this project from the front.
You trying to start some trouble?
Maybe. Maybe. Budget's a major limitation.
Now here's
for
the
a lot of
thing.
people.
I always tell people, create and work within your budget. Yeah. Meaning, if you can't afford a full orchestra string arrangement, you may have to do keyboard strings.
Work with what you got.
Work with what you have. Yeah. Don't let that be a limitation. Still get creative in that and within that budget. So if somebody say, hey, you have $1,000 to invest into this song, you may not want to pay a string arranger $900 to arrange strings. That's to arrange. That's not to bring in the players. That's to arrange. You may not want to do that. You may want to go a different route. Say, hey, I have $1,000. I want to be a good steward of the church's resources, or whoever is funding that, whether it's a label or whoever is funding that project. So you make those decisions based off that. Yeah. My first thing I do when I work with an artist is come in like, just dream. Give me your dream. Give me all of it. Tell me what you feeling, what you're seeing. They give it to me. Then I say, okay, what's your budget? Then we start scaling that down and working with it, because like I said, some people don't know. They don't know what it takes. I joke about this, but I'm really serious. People are like, hey, my Uncle Harold plays the drums. He can come in and play in his record. He's never played in the studio a day in his life. He don't know the precision, the accuracy it takes to produce good sound. And you like, that's going to actually cost you more money because now you got to hire somebody else to come in to fix what Uncle Harold. Sorry, Uncle Harold out there, laid down, so you have to keep that in mind. So like I said, if small budget, 500, you can work within that too. It can get all the way up to, you got, records and stuff, people putting $500,000 in. We did not put that in.
Well, and some producers will ask you what your budget is and work within what you have too. Like, this is what I'm able to do for you. Yeah. But there's also Kickstarters and other things to raise money,
You notice he didn't answer our question.
No, the budget.
He answered it.
Yeah.
I truly don't.
I know exactly what you're doing with
I
that.
truly don't know what the budget was. I really don't.
Well, I mean, so
I do.
I think this is this,
I know
this
it
is
wasn't cheap.
This is the challenge that I've experienced just over the years. Like, so fundraising, right? Talk about the miracle offering just for a minute. I know in part, at least, this EP is designed to help bring awareness for the Christmas miracle offering that we do at Ginghamsburg Church every Christmas. It's not the sole purpose of the EP, right? But it is at least in part designed to help raise awareness for this year's special offering, which is to help the organization Isaiah 117 House build a transitional home for kids entering foster care in Montgomery County. So from a budget standpoint, talk about both. I'm using this as a bridge to my next question, right? I know that when you're raising big dollars, there is an investment to spark fundraising. Like, you have to have some seed of capital of investment. Like, if I am to go, like I've done before, to Africa to tell a story, there's travel costs, right? Like, I need to be fed. Like, I might need to hire a crew across the ocean. There are costs associated with telling the story. And so, yes, like, we don't need to know the exact dollars, but it's helpful to know that, some money was invested in a creative project like this, as should be, right? I think we need to expect that of ourselves. Like, we've got to invest to be able to grow whatever it is that God's wanting to grow, right? It's the whole idea of putting seed in the ground and watering it and letting the plant grow. Like, this is farming. So talk about then the miracle offering. I know that there is a purpose of the EP to connect people to the Spirit of Jesus around Christmas time, right? But also the miracle offering. What are your hopes, expectations for how maybe this EP will help raise awareness for what we're doing this Christmas at Ginghamsburg?
It's a bridge. It's awareness. The EP is reaching into homes, into devices and stuff that people have never heard of Ginghamsburg Church ever in their life, so they don't know anything about a Christmas miracle offering. And my hope is that this is kind of that bridge, that gateway, that they hear about Ginghamsburg Church, and now they're interested. They go to the website. They start to do their own research. It's like, who is this Ginghamsburg Church? I want to know more about them. And then they hear about the awesome Christmas miracle offering and how they can be a part, how they can give to, help our 501c3s and help, the Isaiah 117, just kind of, just open that door, and that's kind of what this is that brand awareness. Like I said, people, if they never heard of you, out of sight, out of mind, they don't, we want them to be a part, but they have to know about it to be a part. So the goal is to hopefully that when they listening to this, project from Ginghamsburg Church, that they research more into Ginghamsburg Church and learn about our Christmas miracle offering. So again, the Christmas EP by Ginghamsburg Worship will be available on November 18th. That is the target release date. Yes, November 18th. Deadline. If I can once I get the cover art submitted in, and it will go to our distribution partners here, actually, the end of this week.
So
this week.
for the next episode, John and I had an opportunity to sit down with Jason Moore, who's a friend of Ginghamsburg's. He actually was on staff here in the 90s for a short time. But he right now is doing a lot of work with artificial intelligence and how churches can utilize it as a tool for ministry. So my question is, was there any creative use of AI in the production of this EP?
We use RI.
What's RI?
Real intelligence.
Real. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, I'll say in some of the process where we may have like hit a wall, like on a line that work next to another line.
Okay, yeah.
You'll
Ideas.
throw it in, see what it spits out. AI is used as a tool in the creative process, can be a powerful tool. You never want the AI to create everything. You want it to use it as a tool, meaning if you have a creative block, if you got an idea, spit in there, see what options, like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. Or, okay, I can use that. But never use it as, because being a part of the Recording Academy now, that's one of the things we are pushing for, and making sure that now it's a box checked. If you're submitting a piece of work to be considered for a Grammy, we have a box now that says how much of this was AI driven. So we want to know. We want to know, make sure like, hey, it just wasn't a complete ground up AI song and you trying to win a Grammy for it. And it's like, nope. Grammy is for that creative process, your creative work.
Sure.
So we just a little, not much in this process. Yeah.
So before, and we may edit this differently, because this is a question I want to follow up, Emily, on something when you were talking about just this season that you've been in, and one of the things that stood out to me that you said was, as you were praying and making your decisions, you had these ideas of, well, what ifs? What are the what ifs? And so I guess kind of a two-part question of this. Have you seen any of those what ifs realized? And if so, how have they been different? And you don't have to be specific. But then the other side of that is, all of us are experiencing the what ifs. Like when we are making creative decisions, or we're like making big life changes like you did, those types of things, like how can we step into those and really like embrace the change that comes from that, but then also like how does it kind of help our faith, those kind of things too?
Well, I don't believe like the Holy Spirit brings like confusion, and with one decision that I was kind of faced making, like there was a lot of what ifs. Scary, what if I lose friends, what if what I want doesn't happen, and I've let this go. But when I made my decision finally and made it with confidence, even though it was scary, I had a lot of peace. And so I knew that like, okay, it was like a relief had come over me. Like, okay, even though this is really hard and some of those what ifs have happened, I still have this peace of like, but this is what you're supposed to do. And it's like the teddy bear picture. Jesus has the huge teddy bear and you have the little one, and he's trying to give you the big one, and you're like, but I love this one. I love it a lot, and I haven't gotten the huge teddy bear yet, but I feel like I'm on my way closer to what I've been called to. And it's not that this season, these last even 10 years of my life, were not places I was supposed to be, right? It's all of this has been continuing to push me forward closer and closer to becoming the best version of myself, but also getting closer to this musical creative goal that I've been pursuing as well. So I don't know if I answered both questions.
No, that's great. So what advice would you give, and Chris, feel free to jump in on this too. What advice would you give to someone who has a creative idea, but may be feeling like low self-confidence? Like that's a word you just used, but that resonates with me too, is making that decision with confidence. So what would be some advice or some wisdom you could share with somebody who wants to make a decision, but is lacking that confidence, or how can they step into those decisions?
Well, I think that, we're really, some of our Christian words we like to use, or phrases, is like the season of waiting is preparing you for what's next. And so in that season of waiting, of what you want to happen, or maybe you don't know exactly, but you know there's something more for your life, is growing in the areas that you want to get better in. Maybe it's leadership, maybe it's speaking in front of people, maybe it's learning how to play a new instrument or taking songwriting courses. Maybe it's getting with different mentors that you respect, pastor friends. Maybe it's people in the music industry, producers, other songwriters that are maybe at the local level that are doing more than you, and gathering with people who are where you, maybe not fully where you want to be, but the next level of where you want to go to help you get there.
Most of the time, the lack of confidence comes because you're still trying to compare your gift to someone else,
Yeah.
or you say mine doesn't sound like, Dan's or John's, because it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be different, and start to lean into that a little bit, and just say, hey, just become comfortable with being different. And like I said, there's the professional technical pieces to things to help hone your gift, and you can, like I said, go to workshops and classes to help work with that, but just know this: there's no artist out there now who is not self-conscious when they releasing something. They all feel vulnerable and exposed, because you're presenting to the world, and you like, man, everybody's gonna, hate it, they may love it, and also just don't be afraid to keep pushing it in front of more people. Like I said, ignore the first 500 comments, ignore them, because they may be like, oh, this is terrible, this is the worst album ever, and then you just give it a beat, wait a little bit, and you see there's 20,000 more people comment who loved it. But if you would have gave up after the first few comments, you would have just like, okay, this is not for me. I'm gonna go a different direction. Yeah. But like I said, just stop comparing your gifts. Stop comparing it to other people, and just work in the field like David was doing. Just stay out there, work on it. David was out there. Hey, if my job now is to tend to the sheep, where's my heart? While I sit here, I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep practicing. I'm getting better and better and better and better. Then God put him in position. His gift made room for him. All right. And the room that it made for him was to be king, not even the musician. It was something better, greater. But don't be afraid to sit out in the field, sit out by yourself and work on it, for a little bit. It's going to sound strange. It's okay. Yeah. That's how every genre of music was birthed. Scott Joplin playing ragtime. Beethoven didn't play that. He wouldn't have like, what in the world? What is this? But Scott Joplin wasn't trying to be Beethoven. He was like, he may be an influence, but he's like, I like a little bit of that. But this is how I was feeling. This is what's coming to me. And be creative. Try stuff. Try it. Just like I said, kick the editor out the room. Yeah. Just keep trying it. If it didn't work that way, you mentioned Thomas Edison when we started. Keep trying. You may fail. And it's only a failure when you quit.
Well, I like the phrase failing forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep coming to you with my nose flute, Chris. I'm going to put this theory to the test.
Keep coming. Keep coming. I'm going to find a spot for you.
Find a spot for me. I'm coming. I'm not going to give up.
Don't. I gave you your one up. I gave you Christmas Eve, one of the biggest
that's true. You
nights.
did.
Yeah. Learning how to fail forward is really hard, because there are moments that it's not going to be your best, and it might not sound great, but like it's never as bad as you think. Like your worst fear is, it never usually happens that way,
You're right.
So yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
Hey, if there's any Recording Academy members out there, listen, Hope is Here is on the ballot to be nominated for a Grammy. So go ahead and vote. If you're out there, vote. Yes. Cool.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank
you. Thank you,
you,
Emily, for joining us today. Really excited about the release of this EP on November 18th. Yeah. Join us next week as John and I sit down with Jason Moore, creator, innovator, and helper of churches who have serious questions about the ethical use of AI. Together, we demystify AI as a practical and, dare I say, necessary tool for ministry today.
All with the help, or with the idea of helping us make it happen.
Make it happen.
Just make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Didn't John the break the mold? Innovation gonna be bold. Step by step, gonna take control. Gonna make it happen, gonna make it roll. Make it happen while you still got a chance. Make it make it happen.